He is the newest Brazilian Canadian on the UFC roster after a great performance on the Dana White Contender Series. Now, of course, I'm sure a lot of people are saying not the most exciting performance, but it's hard at heavyweight with a guy who isn't really being a good dance partner with you in a fight like that. But you did everything that you could. You won all 3 rounds, an underdog against a guy who was on an 11-fight win streak. So, what's it like to be a member of the UFC roster after that performance?
I'm still in the clouds. I'm so happy with that. And it's like I said, might be not. It's hard to put an exciting performance when I'm the only one actually fighting. I like to say that fighting is a two-side dance, but when I'm the one doing all the work, it's just a lap dance. I don't know how I can call that, but it's hard. It's hard to perform and show people excitement when it's like I'm overstriking the guy. I'm overstriking the guy with that number. Like I think it show over 100 strikes at the guy. But being the UFC, finally get that contract, it's amazing. Feels so great. Finally get here. Finally getting the opportunity. Finally get that contract. I worked so hard for it. Whoever watched me on BFL, I've been working for that for me for years. So it's good. It's a long way coming. Had some visa issues last year, so damn, it's so good to finally say I'm a UFC fighter.
So how did you get the nickname Bigfoot? We've had a lot of Bigfoots in the UFC. Bigfoot Silva. We've had Pesau, who fought recently, which translates to Bigfoot. So how did you get this nickname?
So same way, Bigfoot came from when I started training BJJ back in Brazil when I was about 10, 11 years old, and they start calling me Pezão because I was a 10-year-old guy with kid with a 14 size shoe. It's not a very exciting story, but like I have a big foot. That's it.
Well, I wish it was a kind of a cooler story than that. Like maybe you were out in the woods and saw a
Yeah.
Sasquatch monster or something. But I not everybody can
No,
have that
like
kind of encounter.
I grew up to be like a brownish, hairish, with a lot of hairy, big guy that lives up north. So works out that way.
Now, people that are in the west coast of Canada know you as the BFL Battlefield League heavyweight champion. So tell me a little bit about how you became a Canadian or started to live in Canada, how you got on the Canadian regional scene, because it's a little bit unorthodox as somebody from Brazil to have such success in Canada.
100%. My first time in Canada was in 2012. Actually, I was in high school about on grade 12, and I came to Nova Scotia on Dartmouth, just outside of Halifax. And I stayed there for a semester, had a great time. I really enjoyed myself there, loved the experience. And then I come back to Brazil, start college. I was in middle of law school, and in some point during that journey, I realized law school wasn't really for me, and I needed figured out something else. That's when I spoke to my parents. We found the opportunity to come back to Canada to study and work and kind of figure out myself, see what's the next path. I got into like one of those private college that I could like do both and stay legally in the country. So once I did it, I was already training back in Brazil. I'd been training for years, and that's when I come back here. I got the opportunity to debut at BFL after I think 6, 7 months in Canada, and I fell in love with the cage. I fell in love with MMA. Was already a fan of the sport, and that was the second I decided to dedicate my life to it. With time, it was like I was still in school. I was bartending back in the day. So as I was winning, as I was getting better, I was improving. I was trying to like dedicate more and more time to MMA. And I think it was around 2019 when I went full time on this, and that pays off.
They kept having you fight Lee Meehan. I mean, Lee Meehan's got to be, what, 20 years older than you are?
Hmm, probably to double my age if my counts are right. Like great guy, lovely, lovely. Like he fought me for two times. The second time he took the fight in 1 week notice. I really appreciate it because like during the pandemic, I really needed the payday. So thank you. Great guy, good fight. But just swiftly with Shaflarsky, with everyone that fought in front of me. I love the opportunity to fight, but I can only fight with the guys in front of me.
Yeah, they don't make them like Lee Meehan. This guy's a legend here in Canada, and like you mentioned, a very good guy, very knowledgeable with mixed martial arts. So, what's living in Canada been like for you, and how long did it take you to learn English and settle into the country?
So I always in Brazil. I always went to like English classes, always trying to improve my English. It because coming from South America, coming from Brazil, we always know like speaking English is a very useful skill in business if you want to travel. So my parents had the resource and I had the opportunity to learn. I believe when it came to high school was actually when my English really improved. 6 months dove in and only speak English helped a lot. And after when I come back for the second time in Canada, in Vancouver, it was just about like getting used to again, fitting out, and I believe my English is quite good now.
And who are you training with? I saw you had Lance Gibson Sr. in your corner, another longtime veteran of mixed martial arts. His son, Lance Gibson, you can see him in Bellator. He's doing big things right now. Unfortunately, suffered his first loss recently, but still looks fantastic in his first fights in Bellator. So, who else are you training with right now in Vancouver that's keeping you sharp?
So my head coach is Chris Franco, also OG of the game. He's been doing that forever. He and Lance opened up the first MMA martial arts MMA school in Canada, and we've been working with me and Chris. We have the guys in the gym, especially like Jaden Martin, that's a local talent that's just unfortunately been suffering with a couple injuries, but he's a killer. And at Gibson, we have Junior, we have Jules. We also have a guy, Terrence over there. That's the bigger guy that works with me. We were able to bring in Dustin Joyson for a couple days to help me out for this camp, and we believe soon he's going to start coming more often. He's a friend of the team right now, and more, I want to just make sure the team's bigger. We get the opportunity to have like more heavyweights around me and grow this opportunity and gouge my space in the UFC.
And you mentioned in your post-fight press conference that you're looking to become a Canadian citizen right now. So, how far along is that?
So I'm already applicable. I already did the time I'm a PR for about 3 years. Already got the point that I just need to apply. I just not sending my paperwork to my consultant because I was busy with the camp and everything. So first thing when I get home, actually, I will celebrate. I will enjoy. I will have a nice Brazilian barbecue. But second thing will be take care of that. And by Monday, hopefully, I'll send my paperwork. And sooner than later, I want to finally be a Canadian, get my Canadian passport, and can call my finally be probably call myself a Brazilian Canadian guy, Brazilian Canadian fighter.
How do you like living in Vancouver? I'm here in Toronto, and we have 4 seasons where we get snow and there's autumn. In Vancouver, it's like rain for 8 months of the year, and then it's really really nice. So how have you adjusted to that?
Not a big fan of the rain, not gonna lie. I try to come back to Brazil usually like December, January when it's the coldest and rains the most, just because my body can deal with that, and so we can go to spend some time with my family, especially right now with my boy. And we go there. My parents go crazy for the little guy, but I love the city. Vancouver is a beautiful city, and I got a good team going over there. That one of the reasons I ended up coming to Vancouver the second time around is because I love Nova Scotia. Beautiful place, amazing people. It's so damn cold. I wasn't made for that kind of weather. Don't like the rain, but I rather the rain than -20 and all those below you guys have around Canada. Sorry guys. I'm a cold I'm a warm kind of I'm a warm weather kind of guy.
Hey, I mean, you and every other Brazilian are warm weather type of. I mean, what was it? Edson Barboza and Marlon Rice left New Jersey because it was too cold and moved to Florida. So this is kind of a recurring theme. But we're hoping to keep you in Canada. I know you're looking to become a citizen. So looking forward to talking with you more often. And when are you looking to fight again? I know the UFC is hoping to come to Canada again early next year, from what I understand.
So far there's nothing announced for coming back to Canada. I think the way the UFC schedule is lined up right now, the way my training schedule is lined up right now, I think the November 4th card in São Paulo that it's rumored about to be there. I think that's the best opportunity for me. I I did my entire career in the Canadian scene, so for me, going back to Brazil and finally do my debut there, like my Brazil, not just the UFC debut, but like Brazilian debut on MMA, that would be great for me. And then I would can definitely turn around and come to Canada, hopefully in March. That would be perfect. If I could like ha imagine if I could have like November in Brazil, get some rest, spend some time with my family, and turn around for March in Brazil in Canada. Whew, that would be a perfect two fight on the UFC for me.
And final question for you: have you had a chance to watch your fight back? Because I imagine it might have been a little bit disappointing that you had an opponent that seemingly was unwilling to engage with you at all during that fight. I'm curious what your thought on the fight was as a whole, looking at it from your perspective at what that opponent brought to the table, and whether you were hoping for a more action-packed fight.
I was like, I whoever watch me, I'm a guy. I do my best work of counter striking, so it's really hard to do what I'm best of when I'm not getting strike at, especially whenever I got strike, there was no power behind, so I just drop my hands and let it hit me. Was very disappointing me. Like it's way harder to impress the Dana and everyone else when I don't have anyone to fight. I'm just if I'm punching a bag for 15 minutes, we'll make I'll have the same volume of strikes. I just had to keep going forward, keep punching because the either two things gonna happen. I'm gonna keep punching until the bell, or he would fall. But he didn't, so I kept punching. I did like 160 strikes over this guy, something like that. It was just insane. Like, what else can I do?
Well, it showed you were able to go 3 rounds of just punching, and that's hard to do as a heavyweight sometimes. I don't think people realize that if you're throwing out that kind of output as a heavyweight for 3 rounds, even if there's no resistance at all, it's very easy to get tired with that kind of volume as a larger man. So, I mean, if you want to take something away from that, I think people can now see that you definitely have good cardio.
Oh, 100%. And like you can't even wait. Like I'm broke my nose. I think a couple fights ago in BFL, my left nostril doesn't work at all. So I'm looking forward soon enough to get a surgery there. And whenever I can breathe through my nose again, it's gonna be day and night. I know I already have a better cardio than most of the heavyweights. So whenever I can finally breathe in and full breath on my lungs, that would be magical. Like I can't wait for that.
Well, we can't wait to see you again. Thank you for doing this, Caio, and welcome to the UFC. It's great to have another Canadian on the roster that this country can get behind. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me, Aaron. It's a pleasure to be here. Like I still can realize I'm in the UFC. I keep talking to myself in my head. Wait, I'm a UFC fighter, so I'm very happy. I'm on the clouds, but gonna spend a couple more days here in Las Vegas, going back, celebrating my family, my fiance Gabby, my son Leo, and all my supporters and family back in Vancouver. And I can't wait to go back to work, go back to the gym, and grind through, get better, and like getting even higher on the rankings of the UFC. Who knows? Soon enough, get fight for the belt.